Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for hanging out for so long. I know there's me and one more after me, I think, and then we're done. So we're almost there. I'm Jarlath O'Carroll. I'm CEO and founder of Jobspeaker. Jobspeaker is, think LinkedIn for education. And we operate in the vocational or middle skill jobs. Some examples there on the screen. So skills. You've heard about the skills gap. Today in the US, there's 5 million jobs that cannot be filled by employers because they can't find employees with the right skills. That problem largely now relies on educators. Educators are now being forced to prove that their education is providing the jobs that employers need. Unfortunately, educators are in a difficult spot. They're now being asked to provide education for jobs, but they don't have the right information. They don't know where their students end up. After they graduate, their students disappear and they have no information about where they end up. So really, what we're talking about is an information gap for the educator themselves. We solve that problem. On a campus today, what happens is basically siloed conversations between the student and the faculty member, student and administrator, student and career services. No collaboration of that information at all. And it's basically siloed in people's spreadsheets on their desktop, in phone calls, and pieces of paper. With regulations now, with gainful employment and accreditors pushing towards this education for jobs, it's now incumbent on the institution to make that connection between the student and employers. But they're struggling to do so because everything today is manual. Like I said, they're doing everything in spreadsheets and pieces of paper. Jobspeaker solves that problem. So mediocre results today. Jobspeaker solves that problem, and this is an example of what happens. One of the community colleges in California, they're still using a notice board like this to advertise jobs. This needs to be solved. Jobspeaker solves this problem by bringing together all of the partners essentially in the institution. We say it takes a village, and every single touch point of between that student and the administrative staff, the faculty, etc., are brought together on our platform to collaborate, to understand the whole student, what's happening as they're graduating and getting into the workforce. We automate the collection of the data as they're actually getting into employment, which is really painful today. And we make the right connections based on skills. We map the skills the student is earning in their campus to jobs in the marketplace, achieving better results and better outcomes for everybody involved. So Jobspeaker is making better choices available to everybody in the marketplace, essentially building a skills-based education to employment marketplace. The platform itself contains a number of modules. I'm going to focus on the top 3 because that's what our institutions are asking for today. First off, the mobile app, it's all about the student. If you can't get the student engaged, you'll never get the data. So we've built a mobile-first platform to help engage the student in their job search. It has a virtual coach built in to transition the student through the various phases of the job search process, and ultimately build your engagement with your student while they're in school and afterwards. We collect the data. As I said, we collect the data automatically as we get any signal from either the student, the college, or the employer that student is now employed. And we help leverage the very limited resources on campus. Career services offices are usually very understaffed. And so what we do through our virtual coach and through basically the data stream that we can pick up from each student enables us to prioritize the students that need the most help. So we can basically present to them with top of the list of the people that don't seem to be doing much or are really struggling in their job search. Where we focus, as I said earlier, is on the associates or vocational skills. It's 26% of all college graduates today, but we're not going to preclude going after the other segments later, but we're focusing on that initially. Business model, free for students. We charge the institution based on a per student basis for students or alumni, and we charge employers for postings and essentially a platform to help them engage with the students and find the right employee based on the right set of skills. Go-to-market strategy, I've talked a lot about the colleges, so we are going after colleges first to get job seekers on the platform, to then attract employers, and ultimately have a direct relationship between job seekers and employers. Revenue forecast, we believe we can achieve significant revenue within a 5-year period based on our traction today with mostly community colleges, which then is attracting students to our platform, and the revenue really ramps up when we get employers and fix employer problems when it relates to finding the right skills. Our management team, myself and Brian, our CTO, have worked together for 25 years. We launched the first online banking system at Wells Fargo back in '95. Traction, first 5 colleges deployed, 100,000 students in those colleges, and many other, this is just a sample, but many other colleges that we're deploying through the summer. We are bootstrapped to date largely, but we are looking for $1 million in funding, largely to be used for further customer acquisition and sales. And just to close off, a few screenshots. This is what a student's profile looks like in our platform. We highlight the skills that the student has earned in their coursework. Then we match the skills that the student has earned to jobs in the job market, and a swipe Tinder for jobs. That's what we call it. My wife doesn't like that name, but you know. This is how it looks on the desktop. All the jobs on the left-hand side are approach on the top, bringing the student through the approach, and at each stage we help with hints and tips to keep them going along the way. And lastly, on the college side, a dashboard that enables the college to see what's happening on a daily basis with their cohorts across their whole campus. Thank you. I'm Jarlath O'Carroll. If you want to talk to me afterwards, I'll be at the back. Thanks very much.